Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. This is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Tonight I'm going to be talking about how 2021, a Yale professor and some writers at the New York Times, but the reason why I quote these type of people is because, again, New York Post, New York Times, these are major news outlets. And when people read this, they get the feeling of, hey, this is credible, this is news, this is reliable, this is someone we need to listen to. Not so much. But the Yale professor says it's going to be a sex-crazed roaring 20s awaits the post-bug next year. So 2021, once the lockdown is over, everybody's going to come out and everybody's just going to be with everybody. And it's going to be hedonism and party time as if it wasn't already now. Let me adjust my camera here because it's kind of all over the place. All right. As if it wasn't now. It's already kind of crazy, and they say it's going to be worse. And I got some good examples for you. Before we get into this, though, I know a lot of you are newer viewers, and I try to say this every, 20, 30 videos or so when I remember to. But when I say A, like, for example, hey, men need more representation in court, that doesn't mean B, I dislike women, or I hate women, or women are bad. When I say, you know what, I don't like the lockdowns, and all the Democrat cities seem to be locking down, and they seem to be okaying burning things and all this other stuff, that doesn't mean I necessarily am a huge fan of the Republicans. Unless it comes out of my mouth, then don't assume I mean something. So when I say, hey, I don't like that the left is locking stuff down, or I don't like that we can't keep our businesses open, or the jobs aren't going well, or whatever, that doesn't mean that necessarily I'm on the other side. Quite frankly, I'm a libertarian, and I don't like government at all, period. End of statement. So just be mindful of that. Sorry, I got to fix this damn camera. So just be mindful of that, that unless it comes out of my mouth, don't put those words in my mouth. Because I really don't like politicians at all. I don't like government at all. It's necessary, but this last video I put out, a couple of you guys jumped down my throat saying, well, yeah, but what about? I'm not doing the whataboutism. What I say is what I mean. So when I say I don't think women should do OnlyFans because it messes them up, and it means that a lot of guys are going to grow up as simps, and a lot of women are going to get these false beliefs that they're highly valued and desirable because they're able to sell spicy photos. That doesn't mean I don't think they should do it. They're free to do whatever the heck they want. But when men then say, I don't want to date somebody like that, that's the reason why I speak to these things, because men are not interested in, or at least higher quality men are not interested in this stuff. Same thing this story I'm going to read tonight, by the way. I am not all stuck up. Look, if you want to go out and you want to have your fun and you want to have your one night stands and you want to sleep with everybody, go ahead. That is perfectly well within your right. But when later on you have problems with settling down with one person, or falling in love, or not chasing after the butterflies, or whatever, well, that's to be expected when you do things like this. So the reason why I'm reading these stories is because things have already been really crazy in the last couple of years with the OnlyFans stuff and the narcissism online and everybody wanting attention, and that if you decide, hey, you know what, I'm not really into dating right now and I'd kind of like to do my own thing, who hurt you? But, it's always this big excuse of, well, maybe guys just don't like the selections that are out there. Maybe guys just say, you know something, I'm really okay with just being with one woman. And because a lot of us came from relationships where that's what we wanted. I just wanted one good woman, and I couldn't even get that. So now I don't want to play the game at all. But it's for some of us, it's what happened in the past. But for others, they come around, they say, you know something, I'm kind of over things. I'm kind of over the past. I'm ready to dip my toe back into the dating world again. I'm ready to get back out there. Let's take a look. And you look and you go, wow, it's a dumpster fire out there. And there's nothing out there I want. And this includes the OnlyFans girls, the girls that have 1,000 selfies on their Instagram, and that's all they have. right? Because guys go, this is not what I'm interested in. So the stories I'm going to read today are about this exact topic and how everybody is becoming easy. How having a relationship where it's just one person and another person, that's so passé. You need to be with everybody and do all the things because that's what makes you happy. And I disagree with that. I still think for some reason, there's still part of me that thinks the way of the future is one person, and they commit to each other. But nobody does that anymore. Or they say they do, and then they end up cheating, or they end up stepping out, or they end up lying, or something else. And this is why so many men have said, I'm not getting into this anymore, because I would rather be alone and do my own thing and be happy and find my own way than give that all up for somebody that's just eventually going to step out on me or burn me or do something bad to me. So let's get recording. We'll start about our topics here. And even though, I say a lot of these studies coming from the universities are crap, and a lot of the people that are putting out these stories are crap, and they are, and I'm going to prove why in a moment. The point is that this is the narrative, and if you watch the video I just did on the Milgram experiments, when people hear from other people that they think are in authority, a Yale professor, ooh, that's authority. The New York Post, the New York Times, oh, that's authority. I can listen to them, and if I do what they say, I've kind of been given permission to. And this is not correct, because I'm going to show you one of these authors, and she's a very young, know-nothing person. But again, they're coming across as authoritative. Anyway, they say a sex-crazed roaring 20s awaits the post-bug, says a Yale professor. The sex sacrilege and spending await society on the other side of the bug. So says Yale professor Dr. Nicholas Christakis in a new book, Apollo's Arrow, the profound and enduring impact of the bug on the way we live. According to him, according to Christakis, who is also a social epidemiologist, society will make up for lost time as soon as it's safe to, with hedonism quickly replacing conservative socializing, but that reversal remains years away. So in other words, oh, you think it's been bad in the past? It's now that everybody's coming out of the lockdown, it's going to be everybody with everybody, cats and dogs, everybody's going to be doing everything. If it's any worse than it is now, we're in a lot of trouble. During epidemics, you get increases in religiosity. People become more abstentious. They save money, they get risk averse, and we're seeing all of that now, just as we have for hundreds of years during the past. Christakis told The Guardian, in 2014, all of those trends will be reversed. I have not seen this big, you're going to tell me the last couple of years have been conservative and kind of filled with religion, but now it's going to get even worse? You got to be kidding me. It has been nothing but a train wreck for the last couple of years as far as dating and people staying with only one partner and being respectable to each other. As he says, as in the Roaring 20s, which followed the 1918 bug, there will plunge humanity into the era of vice and indulgence. So it's going to be even more about me and whatever makes me feel good and indulgence and doing whatever I want. Again, if it gets worse than it is right now, we're in a hot mess. People will relentlessly seek out social interactions, naming bedroom licentiousness and a reverse in religiosity and an economic boom as likely trends. This eventual outcome is fairly predictable, he said, because the ongoing bug, although novel to those alive today, this is not a new phenomenon in human history. One of the arguments in the book is that what's happening to us may seem to so many people to be alien and unnatural, but bugs like this are not new to our species, they're just new to us. And they just cite that in the past, afterwards, everybody kind of goes crazy. Well, if we go crazier than we were in 2020, again, this just is the death knell for normal, healthy, viable relationships. So now, if you guys want to go out there and date and give it a shot, hey, go for it. I'm not saying that dating shouldn't be attempted if you feel that there's somebody out there that you're interested. Just be aware the statistics that we talk about. 80% of divorces are filed for by women. Many times guys are blindsided. 60% of divorces, a little bit over 50, between 50 and 60, depending on the country, fail. And that's divorces. Relationships, I forget the study that I did many videos ago, but almost 50% of somebody in the relationship cheats. And when you start adding up all these percentages and it's almost 100% that a relationship's going to fail. And here what he's saying is, well, people are going to be even more selfish. They're going to be even worse in the years to come. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Here's again from the news media, the authority, the joys of frivolous bedroom fun. The bug has brought out a nasty puritanism. Oh, you see, this is what we're doing today is very puritanist. It's not indulgent enough. We have to go even further. And this is a story that is written in the New York Times. I took it from the archive.today because I'm not paying for the New York Times because I actually like my money. But this is by a Megan Nolan, and Ms. Nolan is a writer and a critic. She's a columnist for the New Statesman, where she writes about culture and politics, and the author of the forthcoming novel, Acts of Desperation. Sounds like she might be an authoritative figure. We'll talk about that in a moment. But I want you to hear her stories, and I want you to hear how a woman who has a significant other, I don't know if this is a husband or a boyfriend, I want you to hear how she writes. And this story came out before or about the same time as the post that I'm going to show you here in a moment. And then you realize the guy that's with her has to know about this or has to be able to read her stories. And he still chooses to stay with her even after this story comes out about her. And what does that show you? Either A, he's desperate to have somebody around him, so he'll take her. Or B, this is the new normal. And people are continuing to feel like, well, this is okay. This is no big deal. London. Now, this is a story from 3 days ago. London. In early lockdown, I spent most evenings in front of my room, or in the front room of my mother's house, drunk, staring at a computer, reeling at the prospect of my body being deprived infinitely of touch. Oh no, I'm drunk and I'm alone. Heaven forbid. In those days, there was a small sense that all the things that make up my life might really be permanently destroyed. My father, who is a playwright, speculated with sanguine acceptance that he might never see or work on another theater production. Leaving Ireland, where I grew up and where my parents lived, seemed like a remote possibility, even just to return to Britain, where I am a resident. Only weeks earlier, I was in New York for an extended visit, recently single and pleasantly crazy with a desire to date far and wide. Okay, so I guess she was single when she did this. However, she does have a guy now. So I have to assume he knew, or at least now knows, that this is the type of person he's dating. Let me read about the stuff that she did. My romantic and sexual value seemed higher then and there than it had been anywhere else. I thought it would suffer by comparison to all the extra special and extra beautiful people, but it turned out that mildly manic exuberance and a complete lack of interest in anything resembling commitment made up for my physical shortcomings, and I imagine my Irish accent didn't hurt either. I almost felt nauseated by the overwhelming knowledge of how many attractive people were out there. Even when my dates were with guys I would never see again, I usually found something in them or in the evening that I would remember happily, like the one who looked fondly down at me in my hotel room and inexplicably explained I loved New York at the sight of my body. And then in March came the shutdown. Because there was no way to tell if my newfound isolation was going to last 5 weeks or 5 years, I was urgently trying to recast the concept of pleasure as something that could occur without other people. I failed completely and was even somewhat glad of this failure, the better to confirm my long-held conviction that the point of life is simply to be with other people as abundantly as possible. So what is she trying to confirm? That it's good to be with as many people as abundantly as possible. Sleep with them, eat dinner with them, be with them, just be with all the people. Not finding someone that's special, someone that means something to you, and being alone with them. And how did she find value, and why did she end up completely loving New York City? Because she was able to sleep with guys that were better than she expected to, and there were many of them. So she just basically went on a tryst and had her fun. Now, this is fine for her, and I have no problems with her doing so. Hey, you let your freak flag fly. You do what you do and be happy with it. The problem is when so many other people see this, and this is the story that's coming out of how to be happy and how to be fulfilled and how to be wonderful, but they don't follow up with the story of these people 10, 15, 20 years down the road when they're alone, they're miserable, they don't have anybody, guys don't want them anymore, and they don't have the same choices of all the partners out there, and now they don't have anyone. And I think, and I'm not a social prude. If people want to live their lives like this, it's fine. But when a guy like myself goes out into the dating market, or a lot of young men, or even middle-aged or older guys, go out into the market that want to date, and this is the kind of past a woman has, men say, no thank you, because you don't have the ability to fall in love or pair bond, or you don't want to find one special person. You want to sample as many people as you can. And I'm not into that. Because that means you're never going to stick around. You're always, or even if you say you're going to end up cheating or stepping out, or something's going to happen. This is why so many men have left dating. It's not what happened in the past. It's what's available as a choice now. And I think a lot of women are stepping out and leaving the dating market as well, because they ultimately have found, hey, either A, I want the bad boys, but they never stick around and they never want me, and I'm not willing to settle for an average guy. And so they end up kind of in the same pool where they're miserable and not dating either. Completely different reasons, but never the two shall meet. They continue on. And then in March came the shutdown. I already read that. I made the mistake in this period of suggesting in a Facebook post that single people, especially those living alone, could not be expected to go an unlimited amount of time without socializing or close contact. Some people reacted to this as though I had proposed a multiple person bedroom session on every street corner, pandemic bug be damned. But that wasn't what I meant. What I meant was that human beings can't be expected to endure the sudden and total loss of social comfort. For some people, the social comfort comes from dating or from having bedroom fun with strangers. That's literally what she says. For some people, that social comfort comes from dating or from having bedroom fun with strangers. So how does she, it is 29 degrees out. My fireplace is roaring so hot, I'm actually sweating. God love wood fireplaces. So how does she says, hey, we weren't expecting this shutdown. I'm not ready for being alone. I can't handle this. I can't handle the separation. How am I going to manage this? My social comfort comes from dating or sleeping with strangers. What kind of person are you when that's your self-worth? And too many of these women are the ones saying, hey, pick me. I'd like to date somebody. I want to fall in love. No more fun. I want to be with somebody long-term. And then they get in those long-term relationships, and after a year or two, they go, I'm bored. I want something new. I don't feel the tingles. He bores me. But this guy at the gym, or this guy, my yoga instructor, or whatever. In Holland, officials have advised coming to an arrangement with a bedroom buddy. Denmark's health chief said, bedroom fun is good. Bedroom fun is healthy. As with any other human contact, there is a risk of infection, but of course one must be able to have the bedroom fun. Whether you agree or disagree, at least these countries were capable of addressing what was a serious concern for many of their citizens. I agree. Hey, bedroom fun is awesome. And yes, maybe it's healthy and maybe it makes you feel good. I would be more than happy to participate in that with somebody that I knew. With somebody that I'm comfortable with. I don't just go, you. All right, let's go for it. But that's what society is doing today. It's the indiscriminate hookups that are just, again, hedonism, and everybody's living what they think is this fast-paced, fun, awesome life, only to end up burning themselves out and realizing too late that they're alone or they've damaged themselves. She goes on a little bit more to talk about kind of the same things, but it's basically, hey, we need to get out there. I want to read here. Here's the top comment on this article from the New York Times. Here's the top comment. There's 858 comments. Gloria Anders, she says, it all depends on your attitude. My daughter, age 22, told me she frequently encounters attractive runners when she's out for a run. Often they duck off trail and have a quickie. Relieves the stress. Life is too short and youth fades very quickly. Live while you're alive. And this was the New York Times pick for best answer. New York Times flagged this as we like this answer. Now, I don't know about you, but when I go for a jog, I'm not one to stick prophylactics. I'm not one to grab the jimmies and put them in my pocket just in case I meet somebody while I'm on a jog. So her daughter's going out on a jog, meets someone that's attractive. Now maybe maybe your daughter's pretty good looking, and how this isn't the guys. Like, I don't think guys are comfortable enough or in a safe enough place nowadays where they can just walk up to a stranger that's jogging and go, hey, you want to step into the bushes for a little bit of old in and out for a couple of minutes? Most of the time that probably would end up getting the cops called on you. So does that mean that her daughter is the one initiating this? How do you go out on a jog and come back and you just had a quickie in the park? And then on top of that, if you're a guy dating somebody and you go, man, my girlfriend doesn't even have time to step out on me. I keep a tight rein on her. I know she's being a good girl. I follow her when she does this, and I make sure I check her phone, and she could go out for hey, I'm going to go for a 30 minute or an hour jog. And you'd say to yourself, man, how are you going to hook up on a jog? Apparently this young girl does. She goes out for a jog and comes back. And again, it's not like you run out with a bunch of protection on you. So she comes back definitely a little sweatier, but also a little more wet than when she went out, I guess. I know that's a gross way of thinking about it, but I mean, what are we doing? So, and this is just like the fall of the Roman, was it the Roman Empire? I don't know if it was Roman or the Greeks, and some of you will say this in the comment and call me an idiot for not remembering. But, when you get into this hedonistic, like anything goes, that's the fall of empire time. That's when you start running into a lot of problems. Now, this is an article here, the one about the joys of frivolous bedroom fun by Megan Nolan. She leaves a link here. And here is Miss Megan Nolan. And she's here with her boyfriend or her husband or whatever, because this gentleman's in a lot of pictures with her. And it's hard for you to tell, but if you actually, she's got a little cold sore right here. So she has the gift that keeps on giving. She has the herp. And that's her, the one that just went out and felt so appreciated for being wanted and having all these intimate flings with guys in New York City. So again, look, if people want to go out there and be on OnlyFans, if people want to go out there and just sleep with anybody they come across and they want to have this fun, go ahead. I don't care. You do you. But when more and more women start coming around and saying, why aren't guys asking women out anymore? Why don't guys want to get married? Why doesn't anybody ask me out? Why doesn't anybody, they'll sleep with me, but then they ditch. No one will say, I love you. No one wants to get married anymore. No one wants to commit to me. It's because there's a very high probability, at least seemingly. Now, whether it's real or not, but when we look at the statistics, 50% of both men and 50% of women are cheating on each other in a relationship. That's a coin toss right there. And then when you hear about women going out for a jog and coming back, and they got lucky during the jog, I mean, there's a point of view this, and then all the news articles saying, just go out and do it. It's fun, it's free, there's no downsides to it. Go for it. We've been too stuck up in the past. When you see all this, guys, so many guys are just like, no, I do not want to accidentally get with somebody like this. And so what's the safest way not to? Well, if you're going to date, you got to go through a lot of red flags. It's guys now that have to say no on the first few dates to being with a woman. Why? Because you've got to vet her for red flags. You got to make sure that she hasn't had 150 partners unprotected. You got to make sure that she's not crazy and is going to say that you did something you didn't really do. It's guys that have to, ironically, be more careful than the women nowadays. But here's where we are, guys. So, you do you, and if anybody doesn't like my message out there and says, hey, I should be able to do whatever you want. You go right ahead. But I also have the right to not want you and not date somebody like you because of the choices you've made. That's my right too. And the more women that make these bad choices, the left there are left over for guys that really want, that used to at least, or maybe that still do today, that really would step up and say, I'd be a great husband. I'd be a great dad. I'd take care of somebody. It would be awesome if I had somebody worth taken care of that would actually stick around and not get into all this craziness. But it's becoming rarer and rarer. Okay, and now it is time for our dating profile of the day. Well, here we have a gal that's wearing an orange sweater and shorts that apparently look to be made out of a garbage bag. Perhaps that it's pleather or some sort of fake leather material, but nonetheless, they look like garbage bags. She is a a plus, a BBW, a big, beautiful woman, a plus size. Less plus, more multiplicative, to be honest with you. She's 24. Short guys, swipe left. What is short? 3'5", 5'8", 6'1". What's short? Short guys, swipe left. Well, that's usually underneath 6 feet tall. What'd she say next? A man, quote, under 6 feet is not a real man. Sorry, not sorry. So if you're so guys, apparently 90%, 85 to 90% of you are not real men because you did not grow to be 6 feet tall. I know it's up to, people say it's up to your genes and that it's in your DNA. No, you didn't go to the gym and eat enough food to grow to 6 feet. When I was young, I remember I never wanted to eat very much and stuff my face, and I didn't exercise that often, so I only grew to be 5'7". But I should have gone to the gym more so I could have reached 6 feet. What's that you say? That's not how that works? Somebody better let this gal know. So you're not a man, 85, 90% of you, because you're under 6 feet. Smoker, swipe left, that's fine. 420 friendly, pass, also fine. Make under $100,000 a year, not interested. Okay, so for you guys to get Miss Big Bones in garbage bag pants at the age of 24, how many 24-year-olds make $100,000? So 100 grand. Now I've looked this up before. To make more than 100 grand at that age range, around 24 to 30, you're talking maybe 3 to 5% of people. Graduates, maybe PhD, engineers. I mean, you're looking at a very small, and even a good engineer will usually start out in their 20s and 30s, 50, 60, 70 a year. It takes a little while to get up to 100 grand a year. You need things like manager in the title or team lead in the title. You don't get that at the age of 25 or 26. But if you're under 100 grand or you're under 6 feet tall, I'm sorry, you're not a man. You do not get to win a date with this young garbage bag. Guys, the more we see these profiles, again, and I'm sure there are men out there with just as bad of profiles, but let's be honest. Look, what do you have to ask yourself, what do I bring to the table? And you know what? If you're a supermodel and you're a 10 out of 10 and you're extremely beautiful, yeah, you can kind of be a jerk like this and you'll still get attention from men. But when you have the clothing fashion sense that you do, and you look like a top of a pumpkin sticking out of a garbage bag, and you're not in good health, and you're a plus size, and again, nothing against plus size, but just understand that you are in the minority of what men find attractive, and then you're going to put all these rules forth that 1-2% of men actually reach. Good luck on you. Good luck on you. Guys, if you'd like to support my work, links are below as always. If you have, thank you very much. The best way you can support me is like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out my other videos. Hit a like button every once and again. If you can't donate, that's cool. I get that. Just hit a like button. Make a little comment. Push the video up in the ranks. That's a great way to pay me back for your enjoyment. Guys, I'll leave it there. This is Better Bachelor. I'm Joker. Remember, you think 2020 was crazy? Wait till 2021. They're going to be even easier than they were in the past. And in the past, they've been pretty easy.